Good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
By the way, you're all mute, so if you say something, you're still mute.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Murray, where are you currently? No, you're at home, right?
I was supposed to be. I'm in Dubai. I'm just about to go home.
When did you do this? I thought
On
you
Sunday.
were. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I was supposed to be, but I came to do 2 days training yesterday and today on strategy. So I came on Sunday and I'm going home. I'm going home in 30 minutes.
Okay.
Nice. It's always a surprise where Marie is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll go on. I'll turn my camera off because otherwise I'll be a distraction when I'm trying to pack up.
We'll hurry up so you don't have to miss anything.
No. I'm going to listen. We want to hear the story. We want to hear the all of the ups and downs and turns.
All of the misery.
The struggle.
We'll see how it goes. I prepared, but probably will forget things and trip over my tongue, but that's me. How many more minutes, Michiel? Shall we start then? Like 5 past or something?
Maybe 1 more minute and then we can start. Hey, Jacob. How is the YouTube channel going?
It's slow. It's I mean, I wasn't expecting an overnight success, but it's a lot of work. But I'm enjoying it so far. I just shot another video today. Yeah, and today was a struggle actually, to be like completely honest. My dog woke me up at 5 a.m. so I was pretty tired, not ready to shoot another video. But it's done, you know, the power of editing.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess that's a ton of work, the editing part, if you have to do it yourself.
We don't do it, right, Michiel? I suck
Start
at
the
it,
YouTube channel, go on.
Yeah, sure. It's great that you do, though. It's remarkable. It's great.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
going to wait until
something different. Sorry, Mari.
No, so I'm going to wait until I'm in my 90s before I start the equivalent of YouTube, I think. I'll have lost all my inhibitions by then.
Okay, let's get started, I think. No?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll let other people while you're talking. So, hey.
Yes, perfect. Let me check. Share screen. You guys should be able to see my screen. I'll remove this to here. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I have to apologize up front. You'll see that there is a little difference in style between the first part of the presentation and the second part. Basically, Katrine and I, we both did our lessons learned, and then we didn't have the time or the energy to make it all one coherent design. And so we were like, okay, let's just do it. The value is in there. The style is a little bit different.
It was just not as easy to like have one blob of, I don't know. It looks different, but you'll get the essence.
Yeah. So yeah, don't be scared if you suddenly see it changing. Mine is quite minimalistic, and then Katrine put some nice effort in it with some pictures and everything. So, but we do think that there is some value in it, so we'll get started right away. So this is basically we wanted to quickly start with a little graph of our mood or our mood swings over the process over the last year. And there's many different topics that you'll see that will come back later to be covered in a little bit more detail. But as you can see, yeah, it's been quite a ride, a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And I think I speak for the both of us if I say this has been quite a journey for us, quite hard on us, and we were lucky that we did with the two of us, because it sounds a little bit sad, but the dips never overlapped. So when I was like, fuck this, Katrine was like, no, we have another lead, let's keep going. And then Katrine was like, another sales call. She had to go sit in rooms designed for kids to do her sales calls. We'll see that later, to keep energized. But yeah, there was a lot of ups and downs. Of course, in the beginning, everything is going great. You're full of energy. Then suddenly there is some competition, which we will cover later. You're selling tickets. You're selling tickets outside of your network, people that you didn't even know about. So that's quite cool. But then, of course, yeah, it's a lot of work. Then people start to cancel, etc. And then, of course, there is the peak going towards the retreat itself. And then, of course, this is not a dip. This is just going back to the normal levels of energy. But yeah, lots of ups and downs. But let's get started. So I created this basic timeline. I tried to put it more or less in order. Most of you know that Katrine and I met on a similar event last year. It was a retreat organized by AJ and Smart. We both liked it really much. Well, no, we liked it a lot. That's better to phrase it like that. And we were super sad that they were not going to do another event. And so we decided to host our own. And that's what we did. So starting from October, it's been a year that we've been working on the event, basically. We created our own event. And the first learning for me was how important it is to pick the right partner. Some of you know this, but I don't think most of you won't. And we originally started with the three of us, so 3 people from Belgium. But after a while, in the, let's say in the first phase, we saw that there was no real match in the professional area. There was a match just as friends, but the visions that we had for the retreat were quite different, and the way of working was quite different. So we decided to part ways. And in the end, so the third guy was Anthony. He created his own event, the Together Alone retreat, which was covered a little bit before. But the first learning is really make sure you pick partners that feel right from the beginning, because it's a very difficult journey, creating an event, creating a business. And so it's really important that you pick someone that you know, that you can trust, that you like to work with. So that for me might be the biggest lesson in this journey. And starting on next ventures, let's say, I will always keep this in mind because it's super important. Then, of course, picking a name. I don't know how you guys do when you create a business or want to start something, but I always get stuck on a name. I want to have the right name for it. It has to be catchy a little bit. And a lot of people say, yeah, you don't have to get stuck on this because it's not super important. But as you saw, we were looking at Workshopper Connect, Facilitator Connect, Facilitator Growth. In the end, we ended up with Facilitators Connect. I think we're quite happy with the name. But if we look at the end of our marketing campaign, if we fast forward, there were not enough facilitators joining Facilitators Connect. And see, we wanted to expand to coaches, innovation consultants, etc. So in the end, maybe the name could have been better. So that's also something to think about. It was very niche down, which was good, but maybe it was too niche and maybe not everyone knows what a facilitator is. So yeah, there is something to say about the name. Then the venue, it's super important for the atmosphere. We did a lot of searching. There were not a lot of venues that had a nice atmosphere that were able to fit enough people. So I think some of you have seen the pictures or seen the maybe the recap video, but we're quite happy with the venue in the end. Then this is a screenshot of my Miro. There was a ton of work going to this. I really like Miro a lot for this. Now we're moving towards Notion, but I like it less. I have to say I'm quite visual in my way of working, but just know that creating the event is only a small part of the whole, let's say, to-do list, and all the marketing, etc. they have to do was basic. For us, the marketing was 90% of the work. So it also means there's so much to do, so much people to connect to contact, legal stuff to be done. So it's super important that you're able to trust your partner. So it goes back a little bit to the point in the first slide is pick a right partner. And something that we learned along the way, because it was not something that we did intentionally, of course, but being authentic really worked for us. There was some feedback that we received a lot, that they really liked how authentic we were in the sales calls, but also during the event. And it always helps to be a little bit naive when starting something like this, because in the beginning we thought like, okay, AJ and Smart was able to do it without a lot of marketing. We should be able to do it as well. Of course, there is a little difference in the size of people or the amount of people that both of us can reach. So yeah, we were definitely a little bit naive in that one. Then, of course, there is some ups and downs. People who we thought were going to buy, in the end, they didn't buy, or they went to the retreat from Anthony, the Together Alone retreat. Then, of course, there is the ups that I mentioned, total strangers who suddenly bought a ticket. I know, for example, Jörg, he was one of the first people to buy a ticket quite in the beginning, and Elena as well. We haven't had a lot of contact up front with them, so it's super nice if you suddenly sell a ticket to someone out of your direct network. And of course, you already guessed it, but creating an event like this is not a hobby. It's basically creating a business, and so you have to think about your positioning, your marketing, your sales. And if we look, I quickly looked at the numbers. I think we wrote in total about more than 100 emails and more than 100 LinkedIn posts. Just to say that goes a lot of time into it. Of course, ChatGPT is a big help to help you draft some emails and some LinkedIn posts, some outlines. So that's quite useful. And yeah, super important. Yeah, people have to believe you to buy you, because we only had a concept. We had no previous experience, no testimonials. We just said, hey, we went to this other retreat, which we really liked. We want to do something similar. And can be quite hard in the beginning. And the other difficult thing is we decided to focus on positioning, marketing, and sales, because we saw, okay, a lot of facilitators are struggling to get clients. Both ourselves, both Katrina and myself, were also struggling to get clients. And so we thought, okay, let's do the retreat around that topic, which was nice. On the other hand, creating posts on LinkedIn about the retreat was super difficult, because the expertise about positioning, marketing, sales, branding was not our expertise. So it's very difficult to reach people on LinkedIn. You basically can't give away nuggets of information because you don't have the information yet. So that was quite difficult. Then if you It's a sad truth, this one, the little sad cat, but no one cares as much about your event as you do. And there's been a lot of helpful people we have participants that wanted to give a hand to help us succeed, get more clients. But in the end, it comes down to you. So it's something really important to think about, that if you start something, people will say, okay, I'll help you promote this, but it's always less than you expect. It's just they have their own lives as well, of course. Then the tooling, I was just telling Katrina about it before this event started. I was looking into some new tools, that might be able to replace Zoom or some other things that we use.
Sandfox. Replace
Yes, Sandfox indeed. Sandfox we use to send our email campaigns. What I wanted to say about the tools, you can really lose a lot of time in the tools. So it's not the most important thing to put your time in, but some tools are quite shitty. Hence, they're quite cheap to use. And a good platform, if you like some of the to find tools from startups, is AppSumo. And we basically found all these 3 tools on there. We used Sandfox to send email campaigns. It worked. We have our email list on there. We can schedule emails. But if you look, for example, to creating email sequences when people join the email list, it's quite complicated and sometimes doesn't work as you would expect. Then we used Noisy for a while as a replacement for Slack to gather all the people, but it was really bad. And so now we replaced Noisy with Heartbeat, which is our current community platform. We're quite happy about that one. Of course, there's still things to be improved. And then we used Celix to sell our tickets, but yeah, that one was not super user-friendly either, and not looking super professional. But yeah, at some point you have to do with what you have, and in the end it worked. We were able to sell tickets, send mails, and communicate with people, so that was the most important thing. Something we also learned is you really have to spam people on LinkedIn, on mailing lists. One of the posts was funny and sad at the same time. Just after the event, we did a little post, and one of the comments on the post was, "I was so sad that I've missed communication about this. I would have really loved to come." And I know I sent to Katrine, like, how is this possible? We've been spamming people basically for 6 months all over LinkedIn, and still there is people who didn't see any post about it. So yeah, keep on spamming, I would say, if you're doing something new. And of course, another important thing is don't forget about legal stuff. If you create something like this, you have to check where you have to pay taxes. You have to make agreements also between myself and Katrine, for example, but also with the participants, that they are able to get cashback or whatever, or have a refund period. So that's also an important thing not to forget. Then, of course, if you look 1 month before the event, you saw that there was a little dip in our mood, and it's basically because we had some people canceled because of personal circumstances. But when you're 1 month before the start of your event and ticket sales are going in the opposite direction than what you expect, yeah, that's not the nicest thing to experience at that moment in time. After the people canceled, I think we had 3 people canceled on quite short notice. We were around 25K in debt. So we actually had a talk, okay, should we cancel the whole thing or not? And of course, we calculated a little bit, okay, what would the cost be if we cancel? Because of course, there were costs that we've already done that were not refundable for us. And in the end, if we canceled, it would have costed around 10K. And yeah, we decided, okay, let's go for it. Let's try to minimize our losses and sell some more tickets. And we were eventually able to break even. So that was really nice. In the last month, we basically went from 25K in debt to break even, which was really nice because we had an amazing experience. We also were able to give the participants an amazing experience. But it brings us to the next point, is like the cancellation clause is something that we didn't really think about or much about upfront. But if you are talking with speakers or with venues, it's always super important to think about this. What if we want to cancel? For example, for the venue, it was quite clear. It was in the contract. Depending on the period that you canceled, you had certain costs. But for the speaker, for example, for Ahmad, we talked with him and there was no real contract. There were some mails, but we never actually said, okay, does this mean if we cancel that the whole thing should be paid, or does he just keep a slot in his agenda for us? So there were no real contracts about this, or nothing was really put black and white. And that was basically what we had to do with D. So originally we wanted to invite D as well to do some promotional videos, but we had to cancel. So we basically sent her a mail like, hey, sorry, but the ticket sales are not going in the way that we want. At this point in time, we are not able to afford you or give you the price that you're worth. It was a difficult mail to send, but in the end, for me, it felt really right, because we didn't have the money to spend on, let's say, nice to haves. But it's always something difficult to, not really to disappoint, because she totally understood, but to send these kinds of mails. And then maybe if I have to pick a second biggest mistake or biggest learning point after picking the right partner, would be the discounts. So we started with an early bird price, then of course the price went up, and then in the end we were quite desperate, I'll be honest about that, with the 25K in debt. And we were thinking, how are we able to sell more tickets? And then of course we brainstormed a little bit. Okay, we can give bigger discounts, we can do a 1+1 action. Why was this so interesting for us? Because if you looked at our costs, most of our costs were fixed. So we had the venue, we had the speakers, and the variable costs, if we sold more tickets, was quite small. It was just some food and drinks, basically. So for us, it was super interesting to get more people on board, because even if people joined basically for 1,000 euros, it would still lower our debt quite significantly. So we were thinking about different ways how to do this, or to get more people on board. Like I said, buy one ticket, get one free. In the end, there was no one who used, or there was only a few special discounts suggested, but no one really used these discounts. And in the end, we are quite happy about this, because we hadn't thought about it up front. And for some participants that were bought right in the beginning, even at early bird prices, if you would go under that price, it could possibly leave them with a bad feeling, because they bought in the beginning and then suddenly the price was even lower. So it's just to say, it's something to think about upfront, how you want to discount towards the end if you're not reaching your goal. On the other hand, if you look at a plane, plane seats, the plane goes to a certain destination. So it goes from Brussels to London, for example. And there's also people that paid different prices based on when they bought their ticket. So there is definitely reasons to say, okay, it's possible to pay a different price depending on when you bought your ticket. But it's just something, I don't have the right answer for it, but it's something to think about up front, I think, if you don't want to leave people with a bad feeling. Then during the event, we're almost there from my part. During the event, one of the most important things, make sure your drinks arrives first on the venue. The drinks were in the car with my brother. My brother decided to join us only 3-4 hours later than we arrived on the venue. And so it was quite stressful to get all the drinks cold for when the reception started. If you offer transportation, it's super easy for the participants, but as a host, it's quite challenging, because you have to make sure that everyone gets in the taxi arrives on time at the venue so that you can start. And we had one participant who came from London, and he was actually stuck for, I think, almost 2 hours in the airport, And so we were very lucky that the taxi driver was wanted to wait for us for so long, because he was about to leave, I think at around 10 o'clock, but in the end he left around 12. So yeah, transportation, if you arrange it for the participants, super easy for them, quite stressful for yourself as a host, because you'll be running around with your phone the whole day. Something that we didn't really, well, we arranged professional equipment, professional audio and microphone, basically because my nephew works in this branch, and he was able to, we were able to borrow it from him. But we saw that it's super important to have good audio equipment. It can be quite challenging if you don't have any technical skills. So I was super happy that Boris, one of our participants who was also there a little bit to help us, was able to take that off my hands, because it's quite challenging to do the whole technical setup at the event. Then probably, yeah, one of the best, let's say, how to say it, the best things that we spent money on during this event, because it was not cheap to have a good photographer, but it was so worth it. He was able to capture the whole event in beautiful pictures. He made beautiful pictures of our participants as well, who they all are using around LinkedIn when they are creating their own online events. I also see them as banners sometimes. So it was really worth it. And yeah, I would definitely recommend Mark if you ever do an event. He's amazing what he does. And if we're going to do a next edition, we'll definitely hire him again. And then this one, yeah, I was debating it, or was it I checked in the beginning, okay, should I share a room with my brother? Then we have an extra room to sell, or to put someone in. But in the end, I was super happy that I took the room alone, because as a host, the nights are quite late, the mornings quite early. And so it just wouldn't have been nice to sleep in a room with someone else, because you're disturbing them, or maybe they are disturbing me if they snore. And I was super happy that I took a room alone. During the event or any workshops, if you ever do something like this, yeah, make sure you get testimonials, because it's super valuable. We're in the process of processing the testimonials right now, editing them, so they will be out soon. And this is my last slide. After the event, yeah, I think what really worked for us is being authentic, was some of the things that we heard a lot. Something that was quite sad to notice for an event called Facilitators Connect, that is, if you're hosting an event, you don't have so many deep or meaningful connections as the participants, because you're always running around. You do have some time to spend with people to talk about certain stuff, but in the end, when we created the community and people started to introduce themselves a little bit more, I noticed there was people sometimes with almost the same background as myself, and I almost hadn't had the time to talk to them during the event itself. So if you're hosting something, yeah, the connections can be less deep. Something that we've heard, the most given feedback was basically, or the negative feedback was, there should have been a little bit more veggies. The caterer was quite good, but some more veggies would have been nice. So that's quite good negative feedback to get. And then our agenda, we wanted to give so much value to the people. So we thought, okay, they paid more than 3,000 euros. We want to make sure that they leave with a lot of things to start implementing in their business. But in the end, we hosted, so we had 5 sessions over the 3 full days, and then you had the arrival and the leaving day. But we just saw that 5 sessions in 3 days is too much. It didn't leave any room for people to connect even more, or to host their own sessions. So another suggestion, don't put too much on the agenda. Then we were about with 20 people, and we were 2 hosts, so Katrina and myself, and my mom and my dad were there to help us full time. And we saw that this was, for 20 people, this was just manageable. If we would have been 40, we would have been short-staffed, I think. So I think this is something good to guide you if you ever do an in-person event. And then the last point is we videoed everything. We also recorded the audio, but I would suggest not to promise any video to your participants, because first of all, editing is a lot of work. And the second one, I'm still in the process of uploading all the video to the cloud to maybe even share with the participants unedited, but I had like 400 gigabytes of video alone. And yeah, it's just taking ages to upload that one.
It is sent by airmail. Mark.
Yeah. So the photographer actually put it all on an SD card and sent it to us by post. And now I'm in the process of uploading it to my OneDrive so I can share it easily, but it's just taking ages. So those were my lessons learned. Now we'll go to Katrine.
Now it's my time. So this was the first picture taken of Michiel and me at the retreat of Italy last year, run by Agent Smart, already said by Michiel, but we were thinking, well, they did it, so we can do it too. Yeah, right. Very naive, but click further. Yes. So what I'm going to cover this evening is like positioning, the marketing and network sales, our well-being, and behind the scene pictures I have. So our positioning was like, you think your positioning is clear, and then you have a lot of questions of people. And I remember that Michiel and I were talking all the time, like, but we don't get it. Like we explained this, but apparently, like, when you think your positioning is clear, it is not. And so in the beginning, we were convinced that the value actually was really in meeting like-minded people and connecting and networking on a much deeper level. But people kept on asking about content, even about speakers they actually didn't know. So our biggest one was Ahmad Munawar, and he's pretty well unknown, but he's fantastic. It has shown at the retreat. So in the beginning, it was more like they were not really convinced. And then in the sales, at the end, during the sales process, I actually put like more effort into the networking part and how important it is to have people supporting you. So that's how it went. Yeah. Then, so what did we do for marketing and broadening our network? So we built a website, we had a mailing list through Sandbox, we had a LinkedIn, so we actually always posted on our personal accounts, but we also set up a business account much later, actually, I think like 2 months before the event something started. But this one actually had the most turnover. For a few weeks before we actually reached out to our business account, the followers there, we had like 100 followers then. We personally reached out to them saying like, hey, yeah, I've been following Facilitators Connect for a while. Should we hop on a call? A lot of people agreed on hopping on a call. So you can imagine a lot of calls. We also did a podcast. We were invited by Nati Ravez, also a participant, but also a very dear friend. And through that, we had Jörg coming in. So Jörg was our first participant outside of our network. And he came in through the podcast. He looked up the website, checked LinkedIn. And so it's really important to have information spread all over. So they can check text, visuals, like wherever they can just check in. We also have an Instagram account. Not sure if you know this, but I'm not an Instagram person, but I'm getting there. Like it's slowly, but we'll get there. We'll see. Follow us, please. We also set up an Eventbrite page. Absolutely have no idea how that works. It didn't get any traction. We did use a lot of like visuals on it, but I don't know how that like works or something. I couldn't even look it up myself, the page itself. So if anyone has tips for that, feel free. We also did webinars and we did a lot of personal messaging with people, new connections, but also all the people who liked it or commented on our postings. Next. So we did daily connection requests, and I think we had like 200 new connection requests per week that we did. We also did it manually, but later on we also tried Linked Helper. And Linked Helper together combined with a 30-day trials of Sales Navigator. It helped, like you can automate the first messages, but then I actually found it most turnover again was through the business account of LinkedIn and not through Linked Helper. So I don't know if I did it wrong, but that's how I felt it. Next. So yeah, when you're sending out personal messages, start with a hook, like make it about them, saying like, hey, I connected with you because we have this in common or something, or I saw this really interesting post. Build a connection, and after a while you can try hop on a call. And really important then is to listen. Can you help them? Do I know like what are their interests in? Do I know people who have the same interests? Can I connect them with each other? And then also like in the final weeks we reached out personally and we said like, hey, we are looking for the right people for our retreat. Would you like to hop on a call to see if it is a right fit? And this means that it doesn't really matter, or it doesn't really mean that it is a right fit, but we'll see. We were just really genuine in trying to help the people. If it wasn't a right fit, I also said so. So yeah. Next. So how do you get testimonials if you have never done an event or like when it's your first ever job? That's really difficult. So how did we do this? Because we did have testimonials, but we had some people who purchased. And so we asked them, can you make like a little video or a text or something that tells why you did purchase a ticket? Why do you believe in the concept of it? Or why do you think it's important to meet like at the retreat or something? Or why do you believe in Michiel and me? So a lot of people who bought in the first time, they actually knew Michiel and Mai in person, me and Mai in person. So that is easier to buy then. Another thing that Michiel already said, like if you're doing marketing, you also have to offer value for people to buy in. But it's really difficult if you don't really have value because you're not a speaker. So what we did is like we made summaries of the content of our speakers. We did reposting of the content of speakers. We also had webinars of the speakers. Ahmad did one, but we also had Chris Bradshaw and Bjoke. They were participants, but they also had a lot of value to give. So that's another way of giving value. And we also saw the networking as a value. For LinkedIn, so we bombarded LinkedIn. I'm still doing it. I'm so sorry for it, but I'm not going to quit because our LinkedIn page is still growing day by day. So carousels really work. GIFs, I don't know how to, they work too. Videos, use your face a lot. Pictures, videos of yourself talking, be authentic, use humor, provide value, use colors like typical for your brand so that it pops, and keep going. And always be on, because like react on every comment, respond to every message, respond to other people's reposts, give value, show interest, always be on, never off.
Is this image, is it on or is it off? Because the off one is pushed, Katrine, just wondering.
Yeah, that's true. But that's true. But I Googled for on, so yeah.
Let's go to sales.
The amount of no's that we have had is tremendous. And it was really difficult, especially in the last month, if you had like a huge debt, like 25,000 euros in debt, and you can still hear people saying no. Yeah, that's really difficult. I can say never reschedule a sales call, have an introductory call before a sales call, so that it's just like nice, and so that whenever it is a sales call, people know it is a sales call. Also, when you do like an introduction to the call, when you do a message, you should always say, have 2 timings available. So say like, hey, I would love to hop on a call with you. Either Monday morning, 9 a.m. works for me, or Friday, whatever, 2 p.m. works for me, let me know. And then it is less easy for people to say no. It works. And what I've also been doing quite often is like sending voice messages or even video through LinkedIn. That also works. It's really hard to say no when someone is like, hey, how are you doing, on voice. So it's really nice. When you're on a sales call, always do a follow-up call, like schedule it. I've forgotten about it many times, but it works. Set it up, schedule it like a few days later. And then on the final call, if they're still not sure, make it like 24 hours that they can decide whether or not they're in. No, I have another thing to say. It might look like you're like annoying little child begging for your boss, like to get money or something, because like, buy my ticket, whatever. But this is what I've learned, is that you really should radiate that you really believe in your concept, and how I also did that really like 1 month before, because like I was feeling so desperate even at times. I had to hop on a call, and I was like not feeling it. I was like, no, I'm going to get another no. And so what it is, like, I put on the music, I just danced a lot, and so that gets the endorphins running. And so then I was like, okay, I was pumped. I was like, yes, okay, let's do this. Let's reel them in to say. But it worked. It worked. So it was nice. And then well-being. At times it was really difficult. And so it was really nice. Michiel and I have always been honest with each other, how we were feeling, checking in with each other. And so we adjusted accordingly too. So if one person feels like, yeah, sorry, it's too much, then just reschedule, see how you can help the other person or not. Well, always do help the other person. Set deadlines, structure your week. We always had a call on every Tuesday, and schedule downtime. And I also have like follow your energy. The amount of people said to me that whenever I talked about the retreat, my face lit up, my eyes really sparked. Follow that energy. It's really important. Then we have some behind the scene pictures. These were like messages that we sent back and forth to each other, which was really nice to see. Like Jonathan Courtney, he had twice, he said like, he commented twice, which is a big thing. You guys really have a lot of persistence with the marketing. Great to see. It's rare. It's like, okay, well, that's nice. It just gives you a boost and keeps you going. Also, like you can see, like, saw you've been following Facilitators Connect. We're looking for the right people. Just this is like a message that I sent out. Another one, you would see like, I would want to finish my website, define clearly the service offering. He was actually basically saying why he could not attend. And he said, does it make sense to you? And then I told him like in 1 minute saying like, yeah, I'm sorry, but I totally don't understand, because what you're describing is perfectly what we're going to do. And you would be like such a great fit. And so he was a big no, and I turned him into a big yes. And he was at the retreat and he loved it so much. So that was really nice to witness too. This is, so on the left, you see the Celix, how we sold tickets. And this was really annoying because you could see the stock and you could see the product sold 3 times, which is definitely not something that we wanted to share with people. also because it's like, it wasn't even the right amount even, because also people did a wire transfer. So the stock was not correct. Like the amount of times being sold was also not correct. So I was also telling you, adjust it, I don't want to see it.
But there was also, we saw that there was certain people who were always clicking the links in our mail. We saw how many times the link was clicked, and it was basically, we think it was just to look, okay, did they sell another ticket? And they just wanted to go and look, and in the end they didn't buy. And so yeah, it was quite annoying to get it off there, because it was not so easy to remove the amount.
Yeah.
But hey, the beginning is always a struggle, so you have to start somewhere with the ticket sales.
We also did a little presentation at Mehdi's presentation in Brussels. Mehdi is also a facilitator. I think that was the first time where we also talked about the retreat. And then, yeah, we had a lot of messages. Like I said, you do need to pay a ticket in order to be an internal speaker. And then the response is, oh, you don't need to pay a ticket. Awesome. Just like, yeah. Yeah, Michiel and I also don't live near each other, so we came together for like 3 times actually, I think, also to take pictures of ourselves. We're really not the best people in front of a camera, as you can see, but this was really ideal. Like, also need better pictures to showcase your work. It was good. It was funny. Oh, and then Adrian Smart was beginning to following us on Instagram. So screenshot sent to Michiel. It's always nice. So these are mails of Brittany and D, or like 1, 2D, saying that, what is it? Yeah, so the ticket sale is going a bit slower, and that will cancel. And then was this Brittany?
Yeah, I think it was one of the first mails to Brittany.
Yeah, Brittany was a surprise at first, and then we changed into like, okay, maybe we should use Brittany to convince people. So yeah, Sandfox, problems with it. This is my current work, where you see like a lot of colors. I work for the youth facility. So actually this is a room where children are often, and I was doing sales calls there, so it was pretty funny. And then there's a together alone picture. Yeah, that was difficult because yeah, we're both starting out and yeah, hoping for the best.
Yeah, the thing was, we parted ways, so we knew that there was a chance that it was going to do a retreat as well. But then, yeah, the day that he finally came out, it was it was difficult because yeah, you're basically fishing in the same pond for the same people. But I have to say, in the end, I'm quite happy that it went like this, because you really feel that creating an event is really creating a business. And if it would have been super easy, we would have thought, okay, maybe next year let's do even bigger. And now we really felt, okay, it takes hard work to sell an event, especially if there's competition and if there's direct competition. So
and in the same, we're just fishing in the same pool, so with the same friends even. A few weeks before, we went measuring everything. On the left, you see Michiel holding my measure thing. I also had the fridge full of cava, like what is it in English? I don't know, sparkling wine or something. I could not eat anything else. This was my fridge. Some behind the scenes things. I had to go to Antwerp to pick up the markers and booklets of visual facilitation. We had our tote bags printed and they were sent off. A lot of booze, measuring, and the ticket, like the name tags.
the lanyards.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so then is the question, because I already mentioned in the chat, we're still meeting, Katrine and myself, each Tuesday, even after the retreat. In the beginning was to set up the community. Now it's because we're looking to prepare, should Facilitators Connect next year be a go? And that's still a big question. And so I'm going to do a really quick, it wouldn't be a good webinar without a sale pitch at the end. So here it comes. If we are still looking for people who want to commit upfront, because as you heard, for us, the marketing part was the most difficult part. We were quite open about that one. And so we decided at the retreat this year, Katrine and myself, okay, we would be open to doing another retreat, because before we said, okay, this is going to be a one-time thing, but everyone was so excited about it. And so we said, okay, we would be open to doing another retreat if we have enough people to commit up front, so that the marketing part for us is less stressful. And so we are still looking for committed people. So in total, what does this mean? We are looking for 25 people by Christmas. At this point in time, I think we're around 16. And being committed, what does it mean? It means that you paid 1,000 euros up front. We don't know yet when the event will take place, where it will be, who the speakers will be. So this amount is 100% refundable. If you decide for any reason that you don't want to come, no questions asked, it's just refunded. And the great thing for the people who pay up front, they will be the only people who get the early bird prizes. So it's a sign of appreciation to support us in this endeavor. And Katrine made these slides. So this is basically what I just said, which is great. We're aligned. Okay, and so of course you can join our community. If you're not in the community yet, feel free to join. It's still in beta, so we're still building up the whole thing, trying to give it some structure, try to create some value for the people in there. And I'll go to the next one. So what do we? There's of course some things that we do already know. We still are looking to do it 5 days, so 3 whole days, and then arrival and departure. The price range will be the same as this year, so we want to keep it affordable for people to come. So 3,000, 4,000 somewhere. It's going to be in Europe. We don't want to go too exotic yet, and we're looking in the range May to September. And the great thing is, if you commit up front, you're able to weigh in on the actual dates, a little bit more on the speakers that we want to pick, so you'll have some more say into the matter. And the topics will be the same, so it will be part facilitation, part business. And of course we want to keep the mini workshops and the photo booths, because that worked really well. So if you're interested, feel free to get in touch with Katrine or with myself. And yeah, now I would like to open the floor. If there's anything else you wish to know, feel free to give it a go. I'll stop the sharing. This way I can see people.
You can unmute if you want to ask a question.
If there's no questions, that's also good. Oh yeah. Oh, are you talking, Audrey? Because
I am talking now.
Okay.
So it's not a question about the FC24, because I am a very proud owner of my pre-ticket. I can't wait. I don't want to have FOMO again. And I can't wait to see you guys. The question is more like, when you said you were like on all the time on LinkedIn, I was like, oh my God, like I'm already panicking when I post once every 3 months. Oh my God, like how to follow, how to answer, and then follow and repost and whatever. So I'm like really wondering, oh my God, like you must have spent your life on this. Like how much time would you say it takes to, or effort or whatever? How does it feel to be on all the time, to respond to everything?
Well, one thing I can say already, that it's a big mistake that we did, and it was also confirmed by Ahmad during the marketing or sales session that he did. If you want to invite people for example, we were targeting facilitators, so we were adding facilitators to our network in the hopes that they would see our content and they decide to join. But in the beginning, we were sending all of them a message, and it was, "Hey, I saw you're into facilitation. What do you like most about it?" or something like that. Not really. In the beginning, we made the mistake, and Jacob probably knows this, about mentioning certain things that were not allowed or not appreciated. Was our rookie mistake, but we sent everyone a message, and a lot of them responded back, and then you have to think, okay, how do I keep the conversation going? How can I maybe steer them towards Facilitators Connect? And that was just a ton of work. And Ahmad basically said, and it was something that we also noticed, if you invite people to your network to see your content, that's a really good idea, but don't send them a personalized message, because they know that there's a sales pitch coming at the end of it. And it's just a lot of work, because if you add 200 people a week, and if only 30 of them respond to you, you have 30 conversations, and the next week you have 30 new conversations to keep alive, and just a lot. For the rest, I think we just posted a lot, but we were not super big on, of course we wanted to comment here and there on people's. Yeah, but it was not like we were. It was not like we were doing it 24/7. I think a lot.
No, but it felt like it for me. Even just like, but it I think it has to do with your mental capacity. Like at one point, it just writing one comment is just too much at one point. But yeah, so that's why I think you really have to push it into blocks of time, I think. But I post it 4 times a week. But then making sure in time that you have everything scheduled.
But may I ask a follow-up question? So did I understand you right that you said don't write messages to people, because then you have to keep up the conversations going?
Yeah, so if you connect with people on LinkedIn, you can write a message there.
Yeah, I know, like a short one, or you can write an email if you're in this premium.
So I would say don't write anything, because then you have to write follow-up questions, and you have to try and steer the conversation towards, hey, we're organizing this event, please buy. And most of the people, they won't buy either way, so at least not with you reaching out like that. And Ahmad, so the guy who did positioning, marketing, and sales, he basically confirmed what we felt. He said, like, just add people to your LinkedIn, make sure that this way the chances are higher of them seeing your content. But don't send them a message, because they know that there is a sales pitch following if you say, hey, I like your profile, or you seem interesting.
And that's why it didn't really help, like the linked helper that we set up with the sales navigator. It just sends automatic messages, but then at one point it just falls flat and no one responds anymore. And so it's, you just put in so much time and effort, whereas actually the people who have been following our LinkedIn page, there was so much more conversion there.
Okay, thank you.
Jakob, can I talk about the question that you asked? Did the retreat help you with getting clients? So I asked, what clients for a new retreat, or for my own personal business? And he said, for your personal business. So funny thing, the retreat took up so much time that I had no time for my own personal business. So that went down to 0, non-existing. Also did not get any income off of that. So for me personally, financially also really difficult, because all the time went into the retreat. And so at this point, any clients for my personal business out of the retreat? No, not a single one.
I do want to say, because we highlighted a lot of negative things, that it's difficult to start, etc. But I do personally have the feeling, like, now that we've did it, and doing the first event is probably the hardest, because you have to sell a concept to someone, they don't know you, they basically have to trust you with their money. And now that we've done it, we've had the videos, we have testimonials of people who went there, and so we do think that selling this again next year will be easier than it is this time. So,
and hopefully it will become our business, because at this point, this is my baby. Yeah.
So
Anyone else?
maybe I don't know if you're planning to close the call. Maybe I can say a couple of words and the question was more like. So I guess I was one of the first people who bought the tickets. I was totally out of your network, so not inside your network. The only way I knew you was because you were on the James Smart course and community, and I was following Catherine, who was super mega active even before and to the retreat in Italy. And so this is what kind of for me was your credibility. I have some small remarks and questions and follow-up questions on what you presented. I suppose we are out of time. Maybe I'll connect with Michiel about the tools and stuff. I think the question, so I did sign up already for the next year. I think I did it already like on the spot before leaving the retreat, right? So I'm totally convinced, converted. And now my question is, how can we help you? And actually, how you can help us help you, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I think the great thing, I can imagine it took a ton of time to produce that recap video, but I think that's the greatest piece of content that will help selling. So I hope you are using, like using the hell out of it. I did forward it to a bunch of people I know that might be a good fit, because we do want to keep the spirit of the first retreat, because everybody at the end was wondering, how did you manage to, select this group of people, which created this sort of, atmosphere. And so back to my question is, what could I do to help you get new customers, apart from just forwarding some of your photos and stuff? So maybe you need to work on some kind of like funnel, which would be kind of started by people who went to retreat, but you need to have this kind of follow through, handover thing.
But I think we can definitely have, maybe we have to do it another call, because Katrina and I will have to think about it, but it's very nice that you want to help. So we'll definitely see how we can help you help us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but we'll get back in touch to you about that one. But I don't know if
Testimonials
there's
is always good. Like 30-second testimonial, always good. But yeah, maybe for another time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know if there's anyone who wants to have a real honest answer to anything else from this, let's call it webinar. Now is the time.
So I wanted to say, what was your favorite part or favorite moment? Like you said, you touched upon a lot of the challenges you guys faced, but what was it that you most loved, that really was like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened? Or I don't know, what was your aha moment, like we say in workshop?
Yeah, for me, maybe it's a little bit dumb, but I was there as well to get the knowledge from Ahmad, and seeing him in action, giving all those valuable pieces of content. I was like, oh yeah, we really booked the right speaker for this event. So that was really one for me. And yeah, for me, the first day I was so tired and so excited. At the same time, I was not able to sleep for the first 2 or 3 hours. I was just laying in bed, and yeah, I was happy that it finally started. That was for me like a big high, knowing that we didn't lose any money, that we made it to the event, and that in a week time, or that was the thought at that moment, in a week time, we wouldn't have to spend any more time in it. And then of course a week later you're like, oh, we have to build a community, and our people would like another event, and so but yeah, that was it for me. I don't know, Katrine.
For me, it was actually the very first session at the retreat. So Jörg, one of our internal speakers, one of our participants, he did his own workshop about AI. And I just thought, I'm not going to take part. I'm just having like, being a butterfly, just have an overview, seeing if everyone has water, like just being the mother of the gang. But he took off, like Jörg did such an amazing job. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a good week. So then it kicked in. I saw that people were feeling really relaxed, really interested. And that was actually a pretty emotional moment for me too. So I was just really taking it in, like, oh man, oh damn, we did it. Like, what did we do? But we did it. So that was my moment. Yeah.
Nice, that's lovely.
Damien, you had your hand up?
Yeah, and that first also to say that we also appreciate that a lot being there, and that for everyone who didn't go here, let's absolutely make it 2024 happen, because it's really worth it. It's like when you're a kid and you want to go to this holiday camps and you have everything planned and you just go there and enjoy, and it was exactly like this, except that you also are friends with the people organizing it, so it's like perfect. And
the best thing is we didn't pay them to say this, so this is great, right?
Yeah, you're recording that, so you can just just cut it and use it. Literally. And but I had a question also, because I was also wondering, as someone who are organizing events, what did your experience, your return experience with sponsors? As you have a few that I know you know personally, but did you approach, or how was it to approach companies and to try to get some financial support or something?
Yeah, so we did approach a few, like some bigger names, like Post-it, for example, or 3M. Yeah, or zero response, or they said, yeah, but we already sponsor charities, so we're not doing, yeah, but we're not considered a charity. So yeah, we didn't have, but the difficult thing was also we had a very limited group of people, so if they would sponsor, it would only, in best case, be visual to 50 people. Okay, there will be some pictures taken, etc. But I think the what's in it for me was not big enough for them. But maybe, for example, if you're able to do a bigger events and you are able to say, look, this is your target audience. Maybe you're doing facilitation software. So we had Storms. He was not an official sponsor, but he did give us the platform. He did provide us with some nice physical cards, etc.
Out to us, I think, right?
Sorry?
He did reach out to us, right?
Yeah, we connected on some of
through
posts.
Nati, I think through Nati knew him, but then also like Matthias, the Facilitate guy, he messaged us saying like, hey, can we collaborate? But that was also like, yeah, it was just services that we shared.
But so yeah, I think the audience was too small, and because you don't have a track record, it was not super interesting for them to really say, here is some money or some free stuff. But if you, I don't know what kind of events you're talking about, if they're big enough and they have a very niche profile, I think it could work. But maybe you organize events for longer than we do, so maybe you are able to give us some feedback on how to get sponsorships.
Yeah, well, it's in our experience, especially post-COVID, COVID changes a lot of things, and now the sponsors are more interested in their own niche. So we at TEDx Lausanne, because we have a broad event, usually they say, yeah, but we want to sponsor things that are exactly targeted to our audience. So in that case, I think that depending on the size of the company, you guys might have a competitive advantage, because you can go to Butter, or you can go to Sessions or some smaller or new companies and say, hey, if you sponsor with us, you can have like a 30 minutes to present what you do, and we can have a workshop at the retreat, and then if you offer these kind of things, blah blah, and or you have like, you can trade on those kind of stuff. It's
Yeah, we did reach out to Butter, but I think, yeah, they're quite big. But for example, the tool that I will be testing to replace Zoom, for example, is Sessions. And I think if you're able to find these smaller companies that create a product, for example, Storms is also not a super big company, and they have a tool for facilitators, an easy platform for facilitators to create something. It's a win-win for both of us because they have some exposure, and we created some content for Alexander, and he wrote some mails to his network about our event, and so that was also a win-win for both of us. So yeah,
that's another thing that we do as well, that you can say you have a base of follower and you can relay that, and you agree that for a win-win situation, and they will have like 3 different times that they relay your information. Maybe Jakub have a lot of things to say about that, about building the community first and before going to reach out for sponsors, I guess.
Well, I don't know if Jacob is able to pick in at this time, but otherwise we'll go to Chris because he has his little
hand raised.
Hey, sorry.
He was just showing off. He wanted to show off.
No, my dog is being a pain in the ass. Say hello. So Elvis had an idea or a question, really. Have you thought about the idea of like a corporate package? And I say corporate in terms of basically like bulk selling, but inside a business, because it's like, obviously a lot of people I deal with that we're trying to train the team as well as like build a product or something for them. So it's like, how can you empower your team? So perhaps there's something there where you're targeting companies, say like you could send your team away. Like I'm still trying to see if I can get some of my crew in EU to come next year, because they are like facilitators as well, of different like skill sets. And the education budget they have, it won't cover all of it, but because it's like a thing for them personally as well as like an education. So maybe it's like a package. Well, yeah, of course, yeah, there's one proof of concept we're working with right now, but hopefully we'll see how it goes. But I think like if we can get a package maybe that's appealing. Again, I don't know if you've done this or not, but it just occurred to me that that's another route to try maybe.
We did think about, because now the let's say the topics that we were going to cover were very specific on entrepreneurs. And so we did wanted to shift the topics a little bit so it was more appealing to big businesses. And to be honest, we did make an offer to AJ Smart to some people, because there was some interest to come, and we said, okay, we'll make you a special prize if you come with a few people. In the end, they were not able to come because they already did a lot of courses. Yeah. But it's definitely something interesting, yeah, I think something to consider, because it can be useful for a company, but also for us to get a nice package deal.
I think if the messaging, kind of last year is quite heavily around if you have a business and you're a solopreneur, that kind of stuff, which is great because it does help those people. But I think it might have more reach if it's got a message that talks to it empowers your team. That it's not like getting the company to empower people to go off and do their own solo things. It's like they're going to come back into the business with like superpowers or.
We did have a couple of people reaching out saying like, hey, I would love to join the retreat, but I would love if the corporate can pay for it. So can you send an email? So we had a lot of things why the company should invest in the employee to send that person to the retreat. So yeah, we do have that, but maybe it's a good idea to push that even a little bit further. And I think at one point, I think they were also from bol.com, which is like a website like Amazon. I also reached out to them, and yeah, we were thinking of packaging, but they never responded. So, but yeah, it's a good idea.
I'm just thinking in terms of budget cycles. It's super boring, isn't it, saying that? But you know what I mean? It's like in our company, mine and Marty's, it's I think January renews at literally start of the year. So it's like a prime time to capture corporate spend or people spend through corporates. Anyway, just an idea.
I confirm.
There we go. So maybe just to put it into the mix to help.
Yeah. Good idea. Thanks.
No probs. That was Elvis's idea anyway. It wasn't my idea. So Elvis's.
Good dog, good boy.
It's on a walk now. Now I've captured him outside.
Did you go outside? Or are you going outside now, or is it just
Yeah,
cold?
yeah, to our garden, which is pitch black. Started like chasing something, so I had to go and chase him to get him back. So it's good. It's good for ideation and thinking.
It's true.
But yeah.
Definitely.
Anyone? Anything else?
Maybe just to close for today, at least the topic of getting like corporate clients. I mean, I think most of the people, if not all of them, who were on the retreat, they paid with their own money or their own small business money, right? So you didn't have anybody who get their company to pay for them. What I saw once at one American conference, on the registration form, basically next to the price tag or whatever, there was a link. If you need more content to convince your management, here is the template of the letter that you can send them. And so everything was basically spelled out in bullet points. Dear manager, this is why I have to go to this conference. Please pay me the fee. So maybe you have absolutely no problem to produce such a letter and post it somewhere visible.
Yeah,
definitely a good idea. Yeah,
we have the list, so it's great.
And if I may, from that perspective, like different conference, but something pretty big, even in Europe. I was trying to get a ticket for a colleague of mine, and to convince them, they need to see what's the value from a financial perspective. What are the shocking numbers that they're after? Because saying, oh, I'm going to network, it's going to be, opening my mind, and I'm going to learn about this or that. If it can't be tied to a project, so it's maybe a template that also contains area where people could fill in and say, given that I'm working on this project, I believe it will bring this extra value or will help us overcome this particular challenge because blah, 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 can be beneficial.
Even if it's second or not, completely. We have the same for corporates, for people, but also for sponsoring. They want to have immediate ROI, and it's not enough to have like it will be another soft skill or nothing. They want to know like a number, how many hours would it save, how many projects will be saved, how many, I don't know. So if you have any quantity, it will be great.
But the numbers, because for you it's about, unproductive meeting, collaboration is broken. And one thing that I'm even considering myself to position facilitation in my corporate is we're more and more going in a hybrid world. Like even in the same location, people are working in a hybrid fashion. So we need to find a way to better collaborate and leverage the time. And there's numbers like I was like searching for those numbers, and they're ridiculous. The price, the cost, the well-being. Even there's a platform that monetize how much does it cost for the well-being. I'll try to send you the screenshot, Catherine. The price of well-being by being unproductive or not connected with people, by not being engaged with people. The decision making, how much can you lose because you make decision? And I'm sure corporate will definitely relate to the idea. When was the last time that you invested in a program because one person said so, and 2 years later you finally launch and you realize that nobody wants it and you spend like 3 million on it? That's where facilitation or design thinking can help, address this issue. Like how about saving those 2.5 million? But yeah, there's like these bits and pieces, I guess. That's something I'm sure we can also help you put together.
That I would love to have like more numbers, because like I think the numbers that I have now is like just stating like if you have a facilitator in your meeting, like you can reduce the amount of meetings, multiply that by the amount of people they're in, multiplied by how much they're earning.
There's numbers posted by Microsoft as well, and there a lot of corporate uses Microsoft. So if you tell them, yeah, Microsoft said so, and this is how much time you waste. Google also posted some numbers, like this is the average hours that people spend in meetings per week or something. I don't remember the units, but there's numbers like this. We can help you get them. Yeah. Anyway, I need to get them for myself. So
there's a nice report from Microsoft, indeed. And they have things like the number of meetings have gone up by 180% since COVID. The number one reason why people are quitting and burnout are because of lack of efficiency and clear guidance and decisions. And so all this coming from that report that you can quote, and this is basically the answer for that.
I remember even the cost of a turnover, because when you say turnover, is like, okay, there's the person leaving. You need to create the job description that involves in general, like senior leadership managers, HR, just to create a damn job description. Then they need to post it on LinkedIn, post it on all the platforms. You know that better than anyone. It's like taking time, etc. Then they need to hire. So to hire, there's a bunch of meetings, aka interview that happens. That again takes a lot of time, of high paid people, blah, blah, blah. So I think the cost, I have that number like anchored in my head because I was myself shocked by that number. For one person, it's about $50,000. So it's massive. Like you lose, the motivation in the team gets downgraded. People start wondering, blah, blah, blah.
No effect. Yeah.
So it's
We'll have to do a
real
brainstorm
thing.
on it.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, thanks for the input. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
What's-
So happy it's being recorded. Like, that's just okay.
What's the month that's currently winning on the poll, guys? I didn't connect on our lovely platform, but I forgot the name.
But we'll have to do it. Yeah, the poll.
The
You
poll.
can only, yeah, you can only put one option in there. And so, for example, me, I mistakenly, I was trying to do all the options and then I voted wrongly and you cannot change it. So we're going to do another poll with something more flexible.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it myself. I was like, okay, I chose my favorite, but
Yeah,
technically-
no, it's I will try for Google Forms, but I also emailed to the Heartbeat platform because there are some other things that need to be adjusted, or like we would love to see differently.
Looked at.
So yeah, so we're hoping that they can adjust that, but we'll see. Also, like every post is just like exploded, like, or expanded. Would be nice if it would be
But
small,
it's maybe
all
too
through.
much in detail for this call.
Sorry, this was the retreat call.
Is there anything else? Otherwise, I think we can wrap up here. Of course, if there's anything else, feel free to reach out to Katrina or to myself. We're always happy to share our knowledge that we have built up so far to help you if you have some similar ideas. And if not, thank you for coming.
Well
And
done, and thank you for sharing.
I hope to see you at the next event.
Yay.
There, 24.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.